Good, happy Sunday morning, December 29, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's begin. First up, drunk driver crashes head-on with a DOT truck on Route 4 in Chester. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This is the Chevy Trax, the Chevy Equinox, the all-new Chevy Blazer, and the roomy Chevy Traverse. No matter what you're looking for in an SUV, Chevy's got you covered.
Police say a man driving under the influence collided head-on with a DOT plow truck early this morning. Troopers responded to Route 4 in Chichester after they say 25-year-old Dylan Bodette crossed into the lane in front of that plow truck. The DOT driver was taken to the hospital with some minor injuries. Bodette was also treated for injuries and charged with aggravated DUI and DUI subsequent offense.
Okay, and there you go on that video in that report. Hundreds plunge into frigid water for last time with Freight's family. Pete Freight would have turned 35 on Saturday, yesterday. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
On the day Pete Frates would have turned 35 years old, his widow, Julie, led the charge on the final plunge for Pete at Good Harbor Beach in Gloucester.
I feel great, honestly. The adrenaline takes over, and it was so fun just running in there with my girlfriends and knowing Pete's watching.
They came in costumes. They came in droves, storming the ocean, showing support for the man who answered ALS with the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Brisk and invigorating.
Following the plunge, Pete's father stood next to the chief of Beverly Police for a fitting tribute.
The czar of the ice bucket, I declare. Happy birthday to Pete. Let's strike out ALS and make sure that no other family, no other person has to suffer from this horrific disease ever again. This one's for you, Pete. 1, 2, 3,
Pete died earlier this month after battling ALS for 8 years. The Ice Bucket Challenge he started raised more than $220 million for ALS research. The turnout here speaks to his character, the caliber of the life he lived, and the legacy he leaves.
The true testament is the amount of people that showed up, over 1,000 on the beach, so that is truly incredible and truly a testament to Pete Frates.
This community has lifted our spirits beyond anything we could ask. They have for 8 years. And look at what they've done. I mean, this is amazing. This is such a tribute to my son.
The turnout today surpassed expectations, as did the fundraising effort. The money raised will go toward paying Pete's medical bills. Reporting live in Gloucester, Todd Kiskevich, WCVB News Center 5.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Police say icy road conditions a factor in Raymond crash that seriously injured one person. Take a look at this photo right here. This is photo from the crash scene. Raymond crash. Sources from Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. The photo. A driver was sent to Maine Medical Center with serious injuries following a crash in Raymond, Maine on Saturday night. Police with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office said. At around 9 o'clock p.m., deputies responded to North Raymond Road near Naomi Lane and found 32-year-old Matthew Legoude of Scottish unresponsive. He was revived by rescue crews and sent to the hospital. Police said Legoude was unable to take a turn and that icy road conditions played a factor in the crash. And here is another photo from that scene. Take a look right here. And icy roads can be dangerous, so if you don't need to drive on dangerous road conditions, just stay home. What you need to know about security and street closures for the New Year's Eve in New York City. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC7 NY.
Security in Times Square for New Year's Eve as tight as ever, so says the NYPD, and it's working way beyond midnight to make sure the million or so people in Times Square are safe. There will be drones, cops you can see, cops you can't see, and lots of visible weapons, big weapons, we're told. But police say pay no attention to the folks behind the curtains. Just go and have a good time. Eyewitness reporter Stacey Sager live in Times Square with the story. Stacey?
Well, hi, Bill. They're already having a good time here in Times Square because, after all, it's the biggest party in the world. It's the crossroads of the world. You can see the crowd is here day after day during the holiday season, and everything really has to go smoothly. And today we spoke with the NYPD, and they say they are already fully prepared.
It is that time of year when Times Square is bustling, and already we can see police barricades and the show set up for that iconic moment. And believe it or not, in the seconds right after last year's ball dropped, police say they began sketching out the next year's security plan, because thousands of lives depend on it, and New York shines at the same time.
There's nothing like being out there when that ball comes down and it's everything New York, right in that moment.
But here's what you need to know. Wherever you are, police are watching with fixed cameras and temporary ones set up just for the holiday. Get here early. Some streets will close as early as 4 a.m. Tuesday. Thousands of cops will be out here on the streets, most in uniform, but many who aren't. At this time, no specific credible terror threat.
This year, the chatter is down a little bit. That is after a spate of ISIS posters targeting New York that started at the beginning of the summer and reached just under 50.
Some other security to expect? Explosive detection canines, radiation detection devices, counterterrorism boats on both the Hudson and East Rivers, and, weather permitting, NYPD drones. As for the spectators, police say it's up to them as well. Times Square is an easy place to get distracted, so be sure to stay more vigilant.
Just like looking out and just like being aware of like your surroundings and like what's going on and stuff.
I check my pockets a lot and make sure my wallet's still in there.
Yeah, everyone was telling us like you need to be careful when you go there. There's been things happening and stuff. So like, okay, yeah, that's important.
And you know the saying, if you see something, say something. You can always call 911, obviously, but police told us today you can also call the terrorism hotline number. That number is 888-NYC-SAFE, NYC safe. And for all the street closures and entry points that you need to know, if you plan on being here on New Year's Eve, you can go to ABC7NY.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Fuel truck overturned at Palm Beach International Airport. Take a look at this photo right here. As you can see, the fuel truck overturned. A fuel truck overturned at the Palm Beach International Airport. According to Palm Beach County Fire Rescue crews are offloading fuel from the tank before the truck can be righted by a wrecker. There has been no leak from the main tank and the driver was uninjured in the accident. At least 5 killed, 4 injured in Louisiana plane crash. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
We begin tonight with the deadly and tragic plane crash in Louisiana. That Piper Cheyenne carrying 6 passengers plunging into a post office parking lot southwest of Baton Rouge, just missing an apartment complex. Witnesses say it snagged power lines before bursting into flames. Multiple fatalities on board, injuries on the ground. And sources tell ABC News that travelers were en route to the college playoff game, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, LSU versus Oklahoma. One of the victims, sports reporter Carly McCord, whose father-in-law is the LSU offensive coordinator. Officials in Lafayette reporting a mother and her teenage son also among the fatalities. The NTSB now on its way. ABC's Kaylee Hartung is in Lafayette, starting us off.
Tonight, the horrifying crash in Lafayette, Louisiana.
This is bad, bad, bad.
A twin-engine plane with 6 on board, plummeting to the ground just after takeoff.
And the plane just blew up. Then when it blew up, and then that's when that first cop came, and we just started recording.
Oh my God! Just before 9:30 a.m., witnesses saw the low-flying aircraft struggling, slamming a power line just feet away from an apartment building. The plane bursting into flames as it crashed, the fuselage nearly hitting a post office, blowing out the windows and setting this car on fire. 5 on board dying in the crash. 1 man on the plane surviving with critical injuries. Another person on the ground and 2 inside the post office were rushed to the hospital with injuries.
It's going to be a slow process. It's going to take a while. We're asking the public to stay away from this particular area, respect the privacy of the families, and let the law enforcement and let first responders do their job.
The passengers were heading to today's LSU-Oklahoma playoff football game. One of the dead, Carly McCord, a sports reporter, who filed this story just last night.
Now, some people may have some concern that Antonio could bring some distraction.
McCord, the daughter-in-law of LSU offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger. The coach seen visibly emotional, wiping away tears on the field just before the game. Also killed in the crash, Gretchen David Vincent and her 15-year-old son Walker. The NTSB tonight heading to the scene. This community grieving, looking for answers as to what went wrong.
It's a tragic event. It hurts, because you feel for the families, and it's something that we know we're going to get through.
Kaylee Hartung joins us from the scene of that awful crash. And Kaylee, the NTSB is launching a full go team to look at a number of factors, including the actions of the pilot.
That's right, Whit. Investigators arriving tonight will urgently look into what remains of the structure of the plane and its engines. And we should note that pilot was very experienced. Whit.
Kaylee Hartung for us. Thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all enjoyed watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.